Hello, everybody. Wasn't it working? Are you? Oh, I know why it's not working. It helps to have the captions as the top layer. Hi.
Oh, look, there they are now.
Yeah, welcome to Nerds with Dice. Tonight we're going to be doing Dr. Nerdy's Character Lab, where we sit down as a group. Tonight it's just us, and we create a character. Tonight we're going to be using a indie system called Rememorax, which is a game with a specific setting, specifically a suburban gothic horror setting, where you generally play teenagers.
It's basically what Goonies would have been if Stranger Things had been a thing back then.
Uh-huh. Ah, damn it. I had high hopes. I had high hopes that this thing was going to cooperate. But I was wrong.
What have we learned?
Why?
Not to have high hopes.
You're right, you're right. That is what we learned. See, I don't know how everybody else gets it to work then. Because nobody else seems to have this problem. So what am I missing? What am I missing?
A non-buggy web captioner.
Well, that would help. I followed the instructions, to do this right. Hold on, you keep talking.
I mean, following the directions was probably your first mistake. It's usually where I go wrong. Probably doesn't help that it's only picking up like 1 in 5 words from me. Well, now it's getting better. I don't know, my voice does weird things. Mike doesn't always pick it up.
Huh. Yeah, see, it's the scrolling problem that I'm having a problem with. And like I said, I followed the instructions, and it said nothing about having to scroll, but like, it's already having multiple text boxes for this is already going to be hard enough to follow. But if somebody has to go over and constantly scroll, it's definitely not going to work. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll move on. This is Nerds with Dice. We are attempting to get things to work the way we want them to, which does not always happen. However, we do have a Discord, so if you know how to do this and you want to tell me, you can go shout in Discord through the link.
Please help.
Otherwise, we're going to spend an hour creating a character. And when we do, I'll have to talk to Throck at some point and see what he does.
Probably does the same thing you do. Cuss at it until it works.
Huh. Like, is there a setting that I missed? Doesn't look like it.
Do, 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 do. Free keys.
Huh. I'm sorry, this is not entertaining. Right, so Rememorex. It's a suburban gothic horror game where you create characters using how it was described to me, the John Hughes character types: the brain, the beauty, the athlete, the rebel, the criminal are the attributes. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a character. We have not decided any of this ahead of time.
I did identify heavily with one of them.
You did. And we are going to be learning as we go. Now, speaking of, you were talking about the basket case is the one that you were identifying. Is that the one you want to go with?
I mean, if you're okay with it, it's the one that was appealing to me.
Oh, I am definitely okay with that.
I mean, even the opening line. Yes, friends, act now. Destroy Unicron. Kill the Grand Pua. Eliminate even the toughest stains.
All right.
That is my kind of weird.
We'll go with it. We will accept your kind of weird. And we'll start with the basket case. And they have some different examples: the brilliant basket case, the unhinged basket case, the creative basket case, the lovesick basket case, the neurotic basket case, the manic basket case, the wild basket case, the tense basket case, and of course the vacant basket case. This seems to have no complete help on that, so we will move on to training. We have an idea of where we're headed with the basket case. Training, this is the skill set that defines the character's knowledge and abilities. Is an overall asset of your entire training, physical, mental, and spiritual. So ninja or priest would want to list that here. As a child of the 80s, your training is probably largely incomplete. So
I was a child of the 80s, and my training is still incomplete.
Okay. Does it?
So I think it's pretty open-ended. We can just like pick and choose things that might apply. Like we can just come up with words that apply to a grouping of an idea of what you might be able to do.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was trying to figure out. Oh, I see. So we pick a type, a training, and a talent. I got it. What kind of basket case did we want to go with then? Because I think we're supposed to add. So yeah, we're supposed to add some kind of descriptor onto it. There's some examples down on page 37 that's like trickster princess, and sort of like the examples that I listed. I guess we're supposed to have that. So basket case was kind of your idea. Do you have a way you might want to lean on that?
Well, let's just. I feel like this character is going to be me, like the last one was Michi, but
that's entirely possible.
Let's lean on the wise basket case, the one that comes out with knowledge when they probably are least expected to.
Okay. Wise. Alright. That we can do.
I'm also slightly upset how close this is to my mentor character in Scion.
So do we want a mental training? Do we want to go with like I honestly know it all might work.
Yeah, kind of a picks up this and that here and there, not really focused on anything, including the wall.
Right, okay. And then talent. Um
Wow. Okay, this is really open-ended.
yes, very open-ended. This is exactly what makes you special. In Remember X, feel free to go wild. A popular turn phrase or song lyric can work. It doesn't have to be too specific. A misunderstood metalhead's talent might be something like Rainbow in the Dark, rules lawyer for a D&D nerd.
No pain, no gain.
Um.
How about I once saw a cryptid?
Sure. Sounds good to me.
I can see that coming in handy.
Alright. I once saw a cryptid. So we have a wise basket case, who's a know it all, and once saw a cryptid.
Look at me.
And then, so then we assign primary trait, secondary trait, and tertiary? Tertiary, thank you. Trait to that. To them? Honestly, this may not be even. This is a very simple. We will talk about. We will flesh them out more than afterwards. Because it seems like a lot of the character creation is revolved around connections, which, since we don't have other characters, they won't necessarily have connections. We don't have other players. So, what's our primary trait?
Probably know it all.
Know it all, primary trait.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So, is it seeing a cryptid or wise basket case that gets secondary?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, because what would be important to them is that they saw a cryptid. What other people would notice before that is that they're a basket case.
Right.
So I don't know which one should take priority over the other.
Oh wait. Oh. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Let's make it fun. Let's make it cryptid. Is the secondary trait, and tertiary is wise basket case. I feel like most of the abilities in this case are passive, not so much active.
Well, that's what the muscle's for.
Right. Yes, that's what the muscle's for.
You got the brain who can analyze. You got the princess who's the face, can get you in places. You got the criminal that can get you in other places. You got the muscle that can stand in front of you, and then you got the wise basket case that will just randomly come out with the biggest nonsense that will make absolute sense in the moment. Such as that one moment when a dire creature comes out of the forest, you're like, oh yeah, I know him.
Right.
Yeah, the truths and ideals seem very interdependent.
Yes. Okay. So we got. I love that. I hate that, and I can count on this. So truth and ideas. Now every kid believes in something. It might be their country, their school spirit, Santa Claus, the power of heavy metal. That feels very 80s. Or just their own bad luck. These tenets help round out the basis of your character's worldview. To finish up your character, fill out this small series of 3 closely held tenets that keep you that you keep only to yourself. I love that. I hate that, and I can count on. So what does this character love?
Mysteries.
I guess what do we love about mysteries? Because it's like I love that mysteries are.
I love that there's always a question.
I love that there's always a question. That's perfect. And I think to go with that, I hate that there aren't always answers.
Yeah.
Is a good counter with that. See, and I can
count on life being just a little bit weirder than I expected.
Perfect. I like that. I forgot that I lit that candle. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that was actually really quick. I didn't realize how simple.
Yeah, it was quicker than Liminal. And Liminal's pretty quick. I got Liminal busted out in like 15 minutes.
Yeah. So, I guess let's flesh out some of the details of who this character is.
Also, if we wanted to, we can try to homebrew another type. Just to see how that would go.
Okay. Let's name this character. Quick. Let's do that first. Let's give. I guess we never talked genders. We're going with a non-binary character. She, he. What are we?
I think we always tend to lean towards non-binary because that's where everybody's the most like. There's always like either self-identity or an identity that is known to everybody that everybody can play as. We always seem to lean non-binary.
Yeah. I get that makes sense. So we'll lean towards more non-binary character. Name. I guess, does this character have a name or do they go by a nickname?
For some reason, the 2 nicknames that come to mind are Popper, because they always pop off, and Boomerang.
And Boomerang. I love that. I said Boomerang and the captioner just says Boomer and Boomer.
I had a friend in elementary school named Boomer, and it's because he said that his nickname was Boomer because he used to bounce off walls when he was little, and his parents would call him Boomerang.
Nice. Okay. So we got
many okay Boomer jokes gonna happen with this character.
we got Boomerang, because I like that. We got Boomerang, the wise basket case character once seen a cryptid. So you thought maybe we could, well, like, if you had another type of character, what would you go with?
So we have the stereotypes of we have the cliques. So we have the geek and the beauty queen and the jock, the social reject and
Right.
the outlaw, basically.
Right.
There are, like, I'm just looking back at my own school history. There were other things like the band kid that was its own phenomenon.
Right. That is true. That
Um,
was its own thing.
and like the quite often the basket case is the artist, but not always.
Right. I guess there's not really, like a. I mean, granted, like again, like you could probably, depending on how you define the character, move this around and make it a thing in other areas and ways
Yeah.
and places, but there's not really a character that there's not like a straight up archetype in the thing that is for like a being a gearhead.
Yeah,
Like
that's actually what I was just thinking was a gearhead or a shop monkey. The ones that are obsessed with tools and making things and seeing how things work.
I like um shop monkey more than gearhead, I guess, because it makes it so like maybe you're the kid who likes to woodworking.
Yeah,
Or,
is it wood shop, auto shop, steel shop?
right, exactly.
Do your parents work as a ye old blacksmith?
Okay, let's yeah. Okay.
And that would come up with a bunch of subtypes too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that like we woodwork, are you woodworker or stuff like that. Are you the kid that likes to mess with a whole bunch of things?
Are you a tinker? Are you a inventor?
Yeah.
Are you a collector?
Yeah. So, well, you know what? How about this? We got our original first character. We kind of came up with a quick like homebrew because it's. I mean, that was pretty much it. After that, you would just create the character as normal. After the archetype, let's create the maybe. Do you want to create a character for that archetype and then
See if it meshes.
not just that, but we could do the character or the
Oh, the
connections.
yeah, we can do that.
Okay, I'm trying to fill in some time here because this was it took us like
It's
10 minutes.
The book is like 100-something pages, and there's less time spent on character creation than kids on bikes.
Yeah, yeah. How do you, it flows really easily? It was like I'm not honestly like I've been excited about this game since I bought it. At least since I bought it, I think I knew about it before, but I happened across it, and I actually have a physical copy of the book, not just a PDF. That I got at PAX, which is, and I actually got to meet Sean, the creator of it, well at PAX when I bought it. I didn't realize how quickly character creation was gonna happen.
I had the same reaction when I first went through Linol because I'm like, they're basing this off of actual lore from England and Wales and Russia and stuff. So I'm going through it all, and I'm like, this is a thick book. This has so much information in it, and I start character creating. And I'm like, I'm done in 15 minutes. To the point where I created a whole nother race for another person's game because I wanted to do something with this game, but I was bored. I already made all the characters.
Right. See, the one thing that I did like about this book, the intro to the book, the introduction, is a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
which is great.
And also very 80s.
And also very 80s, yes.
I had a shit ton of choose your own adventure books.
Right. Okay, so we have, I like the idea of a I kind of like the idea, honestly, I kind of like the idea of like a blacksmithing character. That sounds fun, like a metal, I guess it'd be more of like a metal smithing.
Well, so there's in high schools and stuff. There's metal shop,
Right,
but
yeah.
there are actual blacksmiths that make their living not just making replicas or making uh, artisanal stuff, but they also do like horseshoeing. Um, and they'll do like hinges. They'll do repair jobs. They usually have a clientele of like multiple farms that they can go around to.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I can, and they're usually the kind of thing that you would pass on to a kid if a kid were interested in working metal. So I can see somebody who like had a parent who was a smith, and they're learning smith work from them, but at school they're doing metal shop.
Right. Makes sense. Okay. So we have somebody who's kind of a blacksmith or metal, like likes to work with metals. I think
2000, we call him a metal bender.
metal bender. Right. I keep losing my spot. Too many tabs open. Keeping track of things that are going on, and then I lose my spot. So now, if we have a character who's learning like some legit blacksmithing, a physical trait might work.
Yeah.
Something like you know what? A physical trait tough as steel.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. Because most of the blacksmiths I've met, they don't like, they look to be around my size. They don't look to be especially bulky and strong. But dear God,
Yeah, I mean,
they are strong motherfuckers.
well, there's different ways to build muscle. There's like the body building way, and then there's like the blacksmithing way where you're
They got work muscles.
where you're not so much doing it to be big. Because you can do it with weights too.
Yeah.
It would be more about repetitive lifting than like
It's the same concept, because when I worked construction, I lost like 100 pounds in 2 years, and gained a bunch of muscle, and it was like accidental. It was just for me working every day. It's the same idea that happens with blacksmiths.
right. Exactly. Yeah, that's let's see, talent.
That's going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
Talent hardware.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that works. That definitely works. I was trying to like get some inspiration from some 80s heavy metal, but it wasn't working.
About In Disguise. Or More Than Meets the Eye.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Let's. And that's. I think. Hard as steel might be like the primary trait, and then I think type would be secondary, and then talent would be last, especially since talent was the one we didn't really know where to go with.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Truths and ideals. I think I love that I can mold things to my will. Might be a good belief. It would equally cause trouble and possibly be something helpful.
There's also, I love that hard work always pays off.
That works better. I think I like that one better.
Because that can go in so many different directions.
Yes.
I get along well with a criminal. Why? Well, because it always pays off.
Right. Okay.
What would you hate? I hate that people are so willing to take shortcuts.
Yeah, I feel like that goes nicely with what we got already. That, you know, the view that some people take shortcuts and that it's a bad thing is what goes with the hard work aspect of this character. The last question. I can count on.
Fire always being hot.
That's perfect. I was trying to think of something along the same lines as that, and I think I can count on fire always being hot.
I can even see it being like a thing, like a reassurance of reality. When they come up against something weird, is just like they pass their hand through the flame of a candle.
Right.
Which is also a very 80s thing because of vampire movies and shit.
Right.
There's always that one movie, that one scene in the movie of somebody just playing with the flame of a candle with their finger. Which I always wondered how many times they got that wrong by going too slow and flubbed it.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because the idea of Antonio Banderas playing Armand and passing his hand across the flame but doing it too slow and going, I just fucking...
That is funny. I imagine it happens.
Then you got the producer out back going, can we get some fire-resistant gel on him?
Right, yeah. Okay, so let's, connections. Each character then develops connections. From right to left, each player rolls one die to determine their relationship with everyone else at the table. These connections are highly subjective and open to interpretation. Two players who get against the rules can decide they both smoke together in the bathroom, or they date despite their parents' wishes, stuff like that. it is kind of a role thing. So go down to the teens, and I will roll. We got 3 for the first one, so our characters have some kind of job. Together. So roll this again. Looks like they've both been employees of the month at Hogan's Hoagies.
That's amazing. The shop monkey and the basket case were employees of the month at Hogan's Hoagies.
How did that come about? Like, did they come up with some ploy to get both of them as employee a month, or?
I can totally see it being accidental, or just because so many people quit because it's a shitty job that they were the only 2 employees.
There are only people left.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I see that. That makes sense. They're just
It's both sad and hilarious.
They both need the job so bad that they're the only ones that stayed. Okay, that makes sense. I'm trying to think. I think that's kind of it for Character Lab this time around. I will have to next time, and there won't be a next time because I'm going to try to get this pinned down on a regular schedule. But I think next time the goal will have to be to pick a system somewhere in between Mage, which was a little bit too long, and Remembrance, which was too short.
Yeah, there are a few that come to mind, like Star Trek Adventures, because it's got some crunch to it, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, we could definitely do that one. I know absolutely nothing about Star Trek, so that could be interesting.
That's okay. I know quite a lot that I don't even know how I know.
So that could be interesting. It'll be a thought. Of course, I'll have to get some guests on. Honestly, this is as fun as I'd hoped it would be. Just sitting down and making random characters for no reason, which is something some of us do for fun, anyways.
Yeah,
but then it's just the idea of like bouncing off and working together to create one character is fun. It's interesting.
We made childhood me, and we made the childhood me that my brother wished he had a brother for.
All right. Well,
that shop monkey has to own a Buick.
Oh, of course. It was the 80s.
Oh, what was a company that was around in the 80s that isn't around anymore?
DeLorean?
Was that a company?
Yeah, technically. So, I'm actually not even sure. Oh, it is still around. Who knew? Founded in 1975. So the guy who created, and I know this because I like listening to the Dollop and all the weird history stuff that they go over. And the guy who created the DeLorean is actually the guy who started the muscle car craze in America with because he was basically the R&D guy for GM, who at the time when he worked there, they didn't want to do any of the they wanted family cars. Power wasn't a thing they wanted. and he somehow he snuck in a package on one of the muscle cars that on one of I think it was the GTO that had like an extra package where it went from a 6 cylinder to an 8 cylinder or whatever and up the horsepowers and stuff. And the top people at GM didn't know. Eventually he got kicked out of GM and went, well, I'm going to go create the greatest car in America. And
Turns out it was a time machine.
also, the DeLorean had a lot of problems. But if I remember right, his last name was DeLorean, which is why it's called the DeLorean.
I was looking at, because there's the joke about Ford Lincoln Mercury in Waterworld. Not in Waterworld, in The Mailman.
Oh.
So I went to go look up the history of Lincoln. And they were bought out by Ford in 1920. Like, I did not think it was that long ago.
Yeah, it seems weird, doesn't it?
It also seems weird to attach them to luxury cars, but I guess they did make the Cosmopolitan and the Continental.
Yeah. All right, so now that we've pulled out the limited knowledge of cars that I have.
I imagine, I'm looking at these cars now. So let's see. We got 60s and 70s. I imagine that they inherited from one of their parents either a 78 Lincoln Versailles or 61 Continental.
Ooh,
that they helped restore.
I like that.
That breaks down all the time.
Oh, of course it does. It's funnier that way.
There's a psycho murderer coming at us. Hold on. Well, can't you just... No, it's an expensive part. I don't want to hurt it. You'll be patient.
Also, like, all their friends' cars work really well, but they never take the time to work on their own car, which is why it breaks down all the time.
It's a reflection of their relationship with other people. Their own body breaks down constantly, but...
Exactly. All right.
Actually, come to that. I wonder if... Because we have the basket case, who obviously is the basket case. That's about as much as they can handle anyway. But what if we give the Smith character something that's like a physical thing that doesn't interfere, because that would be silly to just create something for the sake of interference. But something that has helped shape them.
Like what do you mean, like help shape them?
Well, to give an example, I had it. Hold on. The fun of nieces. I had a friend in elementary school who he had a leg brace, but it was like a temporary thing. But he said that for the rest of his life, he's going to have a limp because his leg got crushed in an accident. And we did the standard kid ooh-ahing bullshit that was pretty damn insensitive at the time. But one of the things that I always thought was interesting about him is that he never let that be a thing that he was upset about. That was a thing that he had to figure out. So he would always, everything that he did that was in motion, he learned to work around. He learned a new way of doing things, and that kind of defined how he approached problems.
Okay. So, as an example, maybe something like he doesn't have the tools that others have to work on, say, a car or
He created tools on the
like
forge that
like
are not quite up to par with these machine tools that everybody else uses, but they're his.
right, but because they can't quite like they can't afford to buy new tools, and it's something that he has to constantly work around. I like that. Also, I kind of noticed that this character kind of just naturally became he as we were talking, which is actually
I keep going back and forth between like a more mechanically inclined Indiana Jones, just with that kind of attitude, or have you ever seen the Disney's? I don't think is it Disney. It must be Disney. Disney's Atlantis.
uh I've seen parts of it, but I never watched the full thing.
The girl that's an engineer.
Okay, yeah,
The
I vaguely remember that.
the yeah. She strikes me as a perfect example of somebody who uh, didn't have a lot of money, improvised, was very mechanically inclined, and could smith, because I'm pretty sure that she could smith.
I'm also now thinking of the ship mechanic in Firefly.
Kaylee?
Yeah, Kaylee, because they never had the parts to actually fix the ship.
Yeah.
So I was just
Forward panel comes flying off the ship. If it crashes, you crash it.
exactly that. Yeah, no, I those. That's what kind of came to mind. They're talking about that. I like that idea of a character who like if they had the proper tools would probably have the nicest car in the parking lot. But
I can see them being the person that goes to the junk lot, and instead of looking at for like parts, they look for weird things like uh, just little odds and ends of metal, and ask the guy if they can just take it, and then they stick it into a bag full of other things that are just metal, and they find ways to repurpose that.
I like it. I like it. Oh, we don't. So we. I already forgot. We named the other character
Boomerang.
Boomerang. Let's see. I'm thinking. I'm seeing like Hunter or like Kieran. So it's like something like that.
Well, do we want to give him a full name?
Could.
So I can definitely see Kieran, like I said, as like a first name,
Yeah.
and then I'm going back to construction terminology again, because the people that would always do all of our electricians were known as Sparkies. So I keep coming back to Sparky.
So Kieran Sparky. Or I mean, if you wanted to kind of go that route with them being a Smith, you could just go with Kieran Smith. Like it's a common enough name where it's kind of right there.
Long line of Smiths dating back to feudal England.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm forgetting my French. Hold on. uh, We could go with enclume, Enclume. It's the French word for anvil.
I like it.
It is a French word for anvil. There's multiple, but
I like it.
But enclume sounds so much better than anvil.
All right. Well, we have 2 characters, and we actually managed to fill out most of an hour
Yay.
talking about those things. Yeah, well, that was fun. That was interesting.
No, it would be an interesting thing just as like a show.
Hmm.
Because there are multiple games that are centered around kids in unusual circumstances. So you have this, and then you have Misspent Youth, and you have Tales from the Loop, Kids on Bikes.
Right.
What would be interesting to me
Teens in
is
Space.
yeah, and Masks for that matter.
Yeah.
What would be interesting to me is if you took characters that you built in one game, and they experience like going through a rift or something like that, and suddenly you're in another game. And you have different rules that apply to you, so you make the same characters over multiple games.
Almost like Sliders, if you remember that TV show.
Yeah, or Quantum Leap if you want to get even older.
I never watched Quantum Leap, but I mean,
I didn't understand it when I was a kid, but I watched it.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily get like. They themselves didn't get new abilities or anything.
Yeah.
But the idea is there. Is every time they'd fall through, they'd go slide into a new world. They had to relearn all the rules.
Yeah. Just have it like be multiple variations of the same small town where weird shit happens.
I like it. It would definitely be a commitment.
Yeah.
To like every few sessions.
Well, that's the fun part is that you can reach a climax for, let's say that, like you're kids that you heard a rumor that there's something in the forest. So you go out to investigate the thing in the forest. And you have multiple sessions of trying to find this thing, and it ramps up to where like you're starting to hear noises outside at night, and you see shadows moving, and the trees are weird, and it ramps up to that point, and then you just fall through a portal. You pop back out in the same forest, same exact spot, looking the same, different dimension, and there's different things happening, and you can basically keep doing that every time there is a build up, and just loop it back around so that build up resolves itself with the original game.
Yeah, I don't know, that'd be interesting. Like even for the original investigation part, you could like go with like Bubble Gumshoe.
Yeah.
And start there where they're just completely normal, and then they fall through a wormhole and they have superpowers, and
yeah.
And then even with Rememorex, they could fall. It could be like to them, or like 2019, they fall through a wormhole, and it's 2019, but everything's still like the 80s in this wormhole, and now there's. It'd be interesting. It'd be commitment. You'd have to get people to want to commit to like switching systems, but it could be fun.
Well, and there are like I've noticed that there are a few of us that we are the kinds of people that collect games and want to play them, but then don't. So I can see a group of us that just do that,
and it would be a good way for me to like check off a bunch of boxes.
Yeah, it would basically be a showcase of each game. Like, this is how this game works. Well, okay. And if it's something that we decide we don't like, look, there's a portal. Maybe the next leap will be the leap home.
And only so much work has to go into each character, because they're playing the same character, just transposed into a new system.
You're learning the system by using something that you know.
I like it. And the name's kind of right there. You could just call it the Showcase.
Yeah.
Huh. That's the last thing I need, though, is like another idea.
I was about to say, I see the wheels turning. Because you can expand ever outward to like City of Mist and like fucking
if you go long enough, the characters could get older, older,
yeah.
older. You could, and then you could like drop them into Chronicles of Darkness and have them meet like an alternate vampire self of this.
You can even, if you wanted to play a new character, you can have them stay in one dimension.
Yeah, no, that's a thought.
Or World Darkness, they all die.
and if everybody's really liking one system, you could play it for a little longer until everybody gets bored of it and you're like, I want to switch to something else, and then now they fall through.
Why are we in Warhammer? Oh god, that would be terrible.
That would
suddenly find yourself in the middle of the freaking succession war.
Also I can see the worst part about being that is the constant cliffhangers that you would never resolve, of like, we're about to win, and then find themselves in another dimension with no like finish to like.
It's almost like it's an allegory for growing up.
Oh god. Like, I was about to win the big chess match, and then
this started out with me wanting tacos, and now we're flying in space.
And I still don't have a taco.
This computer doesn't know what a taco is. All I wanted was Taco Bell. You all told me to try Taco Time. Look what happened. Jeremy's been eaten, and he seems to be fine.
Oh no. Yeah, no, I can see that being a thing. It might actually end up being a thing.
See what happens when I'm allowed to have ideas?
Honestly, but like, it happens too. Like, the only thing is like, I just put a whole bunch of stuff as like, and I'm actually gonna make an announcement about this in Discord, and I might as well just do it here. Is that like, I've kind of put a whole bunch of stuff on hold because life's been like, everything just feels like it's
we haven't worked on
fast.
tradition in months.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, a month will be fine. I'll get the next thing for Millennium Nights set up, but that's not happening. And like, maybe like, there's gonna be a second season. Like, I want that to be a thing, but like, June. Maybe the wrestling project is gonna be a thing, but I got a bunch of bios for NPCs to write up.
Suddenly it gets a lot harder when there's like so much stuff that you have to do in front of you now.
Yeah, it's a different experience when you're running the channel too. Like, before, I was just in a game or running a game, and now I also have to do the overlays and as we're kind of learning with herd cats, but we will. I'm gonna say that we're gonna go and quickly raid our friends actually over at Welcome to the Party.
I'll have Lincoln Motors up.
And we will see you next time. Bye. Next time on Character Lab, there will be more because it's a simple, low stress thing to do. So, bye, everybody.
This is our therapy.